everyone, and welcome back to AI in Action, your daily 3 p.m. deep dive into how AI is shaking things up across industries.
It's great to be back.
Today, we're taking a closer look at sustainable fashion and this buzzy new tech, ThreadScan AI. You've probably seen the hashtag floating around, but we're going beyond the hype today to see if it can actually revolutionize how we think about, well, the clothes we wear.
There's definitely been a lot of buzz, and it makes sense, right? I mean, fashion has struggled with transparency for a long time. Like, what are things really made of?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How many times have you been in a store staring at a tag that says, like, 100% organic cotton and thought, is this for real?
Right. It's a guessing game.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what ThreadScan AI is trying to fix with this handheld device using something called spectral analysis.
So hold on. We're talking about shining a light on fabric and instantly knowing what it's made of? Sounds like magic.
Well, maybe not magic, but pretty close. Basically, it uses a combination of infrared and visible light to analyze how the fabric interacts with those wavelengths. Every single fiber, like cotton, silk, polyester, even some of the more, I guess you could say, exotic materials, they all have this unique signature when light hits them, kind of like a fingerprint. The device picks that up and compares it to, get this, a massive database of fabric profiles.
So like a super high-tech version of those barcode scanners at the grocery store.
Kind of, but instead of telling you about a product, it's breaking down the actual, the material itself.
That's wild.
And get this, they've also combined this with deep learning.
Oh, wow.
An algorithm trained on tons and tons of fabric samples.
So it's not just saying, hey, this is cotton, it's breaking down blends too, like telling you the exact percentage of each material.
Exactly. Let's say you have a shirt that says it's 80% organic cotton and 20% recycled polyester. ThreadScan AI can, in seconds, confirm if that's true or if you're being, misled.
That is a game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm starting to see why people are freaking out about this.
It's definitely shaking things up. And it gets even better. I can even tell different types of cotton apart.
Right.
Like, is it conventional or actually organic?
So no more greenwashing. No more vague claims on labels.
That's the hope, right? Give brands and shoppers the tools to make informed choices, ethical choices. Imagine walking into a store, scanning any garment with your phone, and bam, you know exactly what it's made of, where it came from, the whole story.
That's amazing. That would take so much of the guesswork out of shopping sustainably. Now, shifting gears a bit, some experts are saying this is as big as like blockchain was for the industry. Do you think that's an accurate comparison?
It's interesting. Blockchain really brought this idea of, tracing a garment's journey to the forefront. It's about transparency, just like ThreadScan, but more focused on the supply chain itself.
Right.
I was actually talking with Amelia Green. She's a sustainability consultant, works with a lot of brands on blockchain implementation.
Oh, cool.
And she sees ThreadScan AI as more of a partner to blockchain,
Okay, so they work together, not against each other.
Exactly. Blockchain can track where a garment's been, but it can't say for sure what it's actually made of. ThreadScan fills that gap, adds that extra layer of, material verification.
So like two pieces of the puzzle fitting together to make a more transparent, sustainable fashion world.
And let's not forget the impact on counterfeiting.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine customs agents using this to instantly spot fake goods.
Yeah.
Huge implications for brands and also, consumer safety.
Absolutely. Counterfeit clothes often skimp on safety, which can be dangerous.
Yeah.
So we've seen how it works, the potential impact.
Yeah.
But are there any downsides? Like, can anyone use this? Or is it just for big companies with tons of money?
That is a great question, and one that we're going to dig into a lot more in the next part of our deep dive. We'll look at how accessible this tech actually is, the ethical questions around it, and how it might change the power dynamics within the fashion industry.
Awesome. Looking forward to that.
So let's dive right back into this whole accessibility question.
Yeah, definitely.
We've talked about how revolutionary this tech could be.
For sure.
But can, everyone actually use it? Or is it just another tool for big corporations with deep pockets?
That's the big question.
Yeah, and it's something a lot of analysts have been talking about.
Okay.
The device itself may not be crazy expensive, but the real cost is in the database, the one with all the fabric information.
Gotcha.
That's what powers the whole identification process.
So is it like a subscription thing? You got to pay to play?
Yeah, that's the model right now. ThreadScan AI has different tiers of access, different levels of detail, different features. Like a smaller company might just need a basic package to, verify their own stuff.
Makes sense.
But a bigger corporation might want a super in-depth analysis of like their whole supply chain, global data, the works.
Okay, I could see how that could create a bit of a divide between the haves and have-nots, right?
Exactly. And it brings up this question of control. Who owns all this data? If one company has a monopoly on fabric knowledge, that's a lot of power.
That's true. And what about, like, data privacy? What kind of information are they collecting and how are they using it?
Another great question. It's not just fabric composition. They're also gathering data about, like, where materials come from, manufacturing processes, even the environmental impact of different textiles.
That's a goldmine of information.
Yeah.
But it's also, sensitive stuff needs to be handled carefully.
Absolutely. ThreadScan AI has said they, anonymize and aggregate the data to protect individual users. But you're right, there are always concerns about how this data could be used, especially as the tech becomes more common, more widespread.
It's like any powerful tool. There's good, there's bad.
Totally.
It all comes down to how it's used.
You hit the nail on the head. Speaking of like all the different players involved, let's think about how ThreadScan AI might affect, different stakeholders in the fashion world.
Okay, so we have brands, big and small.
Yeah.
Consumers, obviously. And then the people actually making the clothes.
Right.
The garment workers.
Right. Let's start with consumers. We talked about this earlier, but ThreadScan AI could really give shoppers more power, more information about what they're buying.
Like, finally, you can double-check those sustainability claims, make sure you're getting what you paid for.
Exactly. But it also brings up a whole other question about consumer responsibility.
Yeah.
If we have all this information at our fingertips, are we obligated to act on it? Does knowing more actually lead to better choices?
Ooh, that's deep.
Ew.
It's a personal choice, I guess, but having accurate info is definitely a good starting point.
Definitely. Okay, now let's think about brands.
Yeah.
How might this impact them? Well, for companies genuinely committed to sustainability, this is a dream come true. Verifying supply chains, tracking materials, making sure they're meeting their own ethical and environmental goals.
Yeah.
It's like having a built-in watchdog, constantly keeping them honest.
I love that.
But for brands that, let's say, aren't so transparent, or maybe cutting corners, ThreadScan AI could be bad news. Expose those practices, hurt their reputation.
So a risk for some, an opportunity for others, could really change the game.
Totally. And then there are the garment workers themselves. This tech has the potential to improve working conditions, protect their rights.
I mean, that'd be huge.
Right. More transparency means less chance of, like, forced labor, child labor, all those unethical practices.
That's incredible. But, and I hate to bring this up, but is there a chance this could lead to job losses? Like, what if AI starts taking over tasks currently done by people?
That is a valid concern, for sure. Like, with any new technology, there will be some who benefit and some who are, negatively impacted. Right. It's crucial that any advancements are implemented fairly and that those who lose out are supported.
Absolutely. It sounds like this tech has the power to shake up the fashion world. Affect everyone, from shoppers to the people making the clothes.
It's still early days, but the impact is real. And as with any big change, there will be challenges and opportunities.
For sure.
It's up to all of us, brands, consumers, policymakers, tech developers, to make sure ThreadScan AI is used responsibly, ethically, to create a truly sustainable and equitable industry.
That's a great point. In the final part of our deep dive, we're going to zoom out even more and think about the long-term implications of ThreadScan AI.
Okay.
What trends can we expect? And could this tech inspire similar innovations in other industries? Stay tuned. And we're back. So we've really dug into how ThreadScan AI works, the potential impact, but now let's zoom out a bit. Big picture time. What does this mean for the future of fashion, maybe even beyond?
What's really exciting is that this could change not just how we make clothes, but how we think about materials in general. Imagine this level of transparency in other industries, knowing exactly what things are made of.
It's like a ripple effect, Yeah. But sticking with fashion for now, we've talked about brands, consumers, but what about this whole idea of a circular fashion economy? Like actually closing the loop on how we produce and use clothes.
ThreadScan AI could be a game changer there. Recycling textiles is so hard right now because of all the different materials, the blends.
Yeah, I read that only a tiny fraction of clothes actually get recycled.
It's crazy, right?
Most of it just ends up in landfills.
Huge problem. But imagine if every garment could be scanned, instantly know exactly what it's made of.
Oh, wow.
Sorting and recycling would be so much easier and more efficient.
You could actually make circular fashion a reality.
Right.
Less waste, less reliance on new resources.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just recycling. Proper disposal, too. Some synthetics need special treatment so they don't leach harmful chemicals
into
the environment.
So ThreadScan could help us move away from fast fashion, that throwaway culture,
Totally.
toward taking better care of our clothes, thinking about what happens to them at the end of their life.
It's about changing our mindset from wear it once and toss it to cherish it, repair it, recycle it.
I love that. And this isn't just about individuals, right? Could this push brands to design clothes with recycling in mind from the start?
Absolutely. Instead of just trends, designers would have to think about the whole life cycle of a garment, how it can be reused, recycled.
Yeah.
And that's where AI can really shine. There are already systems that help designers pick sustainable materials, use less fabric, even create virtual prototypes to test out different ideas.
AI is getting involved in both analyzing existing materials and creating new ones, which is fascinating.
It is.
I saw an article about a company using AI to make fabrics from algae and mushrooms.
It's amazing. These bio-based materials have so much potential. Imagine clothes that are biodegradable, self-healing, even change with the temperature or light.
Whoa, that's like sci-fi stuff. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. What about more immediate uses of ThreadScan in other industries?
Right, that domino effect we talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about anything where you need to know for sure what something is made of, where it came from. Food, for example. Scan a piece of fruit.
Okay.
Know if it's actually organic, where it was grown.
That would be amazing. No more misleading labels.
Right. Total transparency. Pharmaceuticals, too. Verifying the ingredients in medication, preventing counterfeit drugs.
Oh, yeah, that's crucial for safety.
Absolutely. And even art and antiques. Knowing the materials used in a painting or a sculpture, verifying authenticity.
Wow, the possibilities are endless. It's incredible to think one innovation could have such a huge impact across so many different fields.
And it all comes back to transparency, accountability. ThreadScan AI is giving us a way to look deeper, see the truth about the materials that make up our world.
I love that. It's like we're gaining this whole new understanding of the things around us.
Yeah.
And with that understanding comes the responsibility to make better choices, more informed, more ethical choices.
This technology is still young, but it has the potential to really change things. And it's up to all of us, brands, consumers, policymakers, everyone, to shape how it develops and make sure it's used for good.
Absolutely. Well said. I think that's a fantastic point to wrap up our deep dive on ThreadScan AI.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot, from the technology itself to the potential to revolutionize industries and even change how we think about the materials in our world.
Definitely. If there's one thing I hope our listeners take away from this, it's that the future of sustainable fashion, maybe even sustainability as a whole, depends on knowing and verifying what things are really made of.
That's a powerful message. And as always, we encourage everyone to keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep pushing for a more sustainable and transparent future. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.